Poverty is very widespread in Burkina Faso and in Africa in general. Not only it is widespread, but it is also very profound. So reaching out the maximum people with the little support we receive from abroad in a sustainable way is a big challenge. Therefore, we decided to use the African solidarity.
To give a chicken, a sheep, or a cow to someone has a very profound symbolic importance in traditional Africa. In southwest Burkina Faso, it is the uncle who helps his nephew to install his own farm and also to become an owner. I want to give you this goat. Take it home and take care of it very well. It will help you in many ways. Everyone must help his loved ones. Show it to your mother, and don't forget to greet her for me. Big fortunes are born from this generosity of uncles. A mentor whose expectation is the full satisfaction from his protected one, who is supposed to come back with the increasements of his gift, to give thanks and to get more blessings. In the village of Navielgan, old Mordada is a live witness of this ancestral tradition. In our Dagara group, when you get 3 children, you are a blessed man. When you have a nephew, you are a blessed man. If you die, they can pay back your debts. You don't neglect your nephew. You dare not neglect your nephew. If he asks you for a chicken, a goat, a sheep, or even a cow, you must give it to him. He's your blood. If someone offends you, he can take your defense. If someone kills him, you must ask for justice. It is when you are powerless that you will cry for complete loss over the case. You must support him at all times. This is what I know of the tradition. When you give animals to your nephew, he should reproduce them and bring back even more so that you bless him further after sharing. Then his livestock can help him in many ways. Anytime he owes someone, he can use a cow, a goat, a sheep, or chickens to pay for the debt. This is a practice that is common to everyone all across Burkina Faso, from east to west and from north to south. In the Sahelian communities, every newborn child is a little capitalist on his first day of birth.
Le jour même du baptême, chacun vient avec ce qu'il peut, d'autres avec des animaux.
When there is birth, the day of baptism, everyone comes with his gift. Some with soap, some with dishes of millet, others with dishes of milk, etc. And this solidarity must not be abandoned. It must be preserved by all means. It is the turn of the fathers who are honored by this birth. They give a sheep, a cow, or even more, in order to demonstrate the level of their richness. Every child in a family owns at least one heifer or a bull. Both the father and uncles give. If the father has nothing, then the uncles give. The gift of animals remains in the family herd. As he grows up, they reproduce 1, 2 to 3 times, and by the age of 20, he can have a herd of his own.
Et comme ça évolue, ça met pas 1 fois, 2 fois, 3 fois. Avant qu'il soit grand, d'ici la naissance, il peut trouver déjà à l'âge.
After my father died, the animals I inherited from him and those I received as gifts on my first birthday make my current herd.
C'est ça qui fait maintenant mon troupeau.
No one has the right to take the animals away from the child. He is the sole owner and the only one who can decide on what to do with his animals. Here are values and a social model from authentic Africa that are disappearing little by little with the rise of individualism, while development policies founded on exterior visions fail to drive the people away from misery. What if we go back to our traditional values? What if a bridge was built between the imperative to develop and uproot development projects? These questions led to the founding in 1998 of ASUDEC, Africa's Sustainable Development Council, a non-profit organization engaged to help the poorest of the poor in Burkina Faso.
ASUDEC, c'est une proposition. C'est une proposition que nous faisons à l'Afrique.
ASUDEC is a proposition to Africa. It is a proposition of ideas, a proposition of a development model. It is a participatory interdependent development model that is inspired from African spirituality, based on African spirituality. We think that Africa has only been copying the others, mimicking the others. What can also be our input in the evolution of humanity? And we think that Africa is too rich. It is still like a soil that is not yet degraded, where we can plant and harvest well. It is the responsibility of the African intelligentsia to rethink the development of the continent with head on the shoulders and heart in the chest.
Sur les épaules et le cœur dans la poitrine.
The organization strives to support smallholding farmers and stock farming, with emphasis on poultry because chickens have a very high reproduction rate. In the end, it provides 10 local chickens and improved shelter with better sanitation, better aeration, and better heat control, and above all, appropriate training that would help them establish a micro-farm. The farmers take charge of all unqualified labor and are assisted in this by parents and friends. ASUDEC provides the construction materials and multidisciplinary trainings and covers the vet care free of charge for 1 year. Jean-Michel Sommet lives at Deobag in southwest Burkina. He found in ASUDEC a providential uncle. From the 10 chickens he received, he is now raising a large flock and a herd of big sheep that provokes a certain amount of admiration. I had my child in school at Pai. One day he brought an invitation note for a meeting. The meeting was to inform the parents of an imminent intervention of an NGO called ASUDEC. They said they will help the children with a chicken project to meet the school's needs. This was in 2004. I applied to benefit from the project and committed to comply with all the requirements. I received 10 chickens. Within a short while, they started to lay eggs all over the place. When they hatched, I had some difficulties feeding them. Therefore, I started to place my chicks with the friends in the neighborhood, just as we normally do in our Dagara group. In the beginning, ASUDEC's focus was on school children because in their vision, the development of the intellect is the main challenge in the fight against poverty. Chicken projects were hence considered as a strategy to promote children's schooling and also to emulate the children for a better academic performance in rural areas. ASUDEC intervention raised so much enthusiasm among the farmers who badly needed to get away from a subsistence farming system that is archaic, unproductive, and which must survive the high mortality rate of the fowls that are not regularly taken care of.
Ce que nous faisions, c'était de donner des animaux aux enfants et de former les parents à domicile pour que les parents élèvent.
What we were doing was to give 10 chickens to each child, then to train the parents to raise them well. The income raised through the project was to be used to meet the school needs of the child. We have so many success stories. Then in the next school years, every child was required to bring chickens back to benefit the younger fellows who were coming behind. We used to start with the first grade pupils so that as they passed to the second grade, they passed on animals to the newcomers. But we started to receive so many complaints from the population because there were so many in the community who were much needier than some parents of school children and who were left away. So we were forced to open our support to everyone in the village.
Et qui ne recevaient pas de soutien. Bon, on a été obligé d'élargir donc notre soutien à tout le monde dans le village.
In the morning of June 2007 at Gansé, a village located a few miles away from the capital city of Ouagadougou, children accompanied by their parents brought the fruits of their projects. You would think of being on a chicken marketplace, but this was the setting for a pass-on ceremony. A year ago, each child received from ASUDEC 9 local hens and 1 cock as a base flock. For each chicken received, the beneficiary must pass on 2 or 3 to benefit new needy applicants to the project. It is with great enthusiasm that the people of Gansé complete their pass-on contract with the ASUDEC and open the door of hope to other families.
Si vous prenez le cas de l'aviculture, on vous donne 10 poules. On prend en charge les soins vétérinaires, la formation de...
In the case of fowls, for instance, we give 10 chickens. We provide all trainings and health care free of charge for 1 year. The training does not stop, of course, but the healthcare has a year-round program. At the end of the year, the beneficiary is expected to have reproduced up to at least 300 chickens, all age combined, at least, if he follows our instruction. From these 300 birds, he is required to bring back 20 plus X chickens, 10 to benefit a new family, 10 to contribute to the financial sustainability of ASUDEC, and 0 to 10 chickens determined by the community to contribute to meet community needs like construction and repair of infrastructures such as school, well, water pumps, motor ambulance, etc.
Les réparations de pompes, les réparations les constructions d'infrastructures, des maternités, des trucs comme ça.
Jean-Michel's story illustrates the success of the vision of ASUDEC. These men and women are all beneficiaries of his chicken project. It is true, this chicken project helped me considerably. I had no sheep in the beginning. It is the chickens I sold to buy the sheep. Each time I sell 5 chickens, I buy a sheep. Today, I think I own a large herd.
I had 3 children in school. I had difficulties paying for their fees. Even food was difficult to find. I explained this to him, and he gave me young offspring to go and raise. When they grew, I brought them back to him in order to share. He told me to go back and continue to raise them. One time, I had a serious problem with the school needs of my children, and he told me to use the chickens. I sold 10 chickens.
The best farmers are encouraged in their efforts to go further steps. Every year, some 20 industrious farmers are installed in more complex micro-farms. They receive an award composed of agricultural equipment, additional animal species, and construction materials which they use to improve their farming systems and particularly to integrate livestock and agricultural activities. Microcredits are provided to further intensify or diversify their income-raising activities. As for livestock, I started with chickens. From the chickens, I passed to sheep and also goats, but the goats are not here. I also raise layer hens on credit basis. It is the income from selling the eggs that I used to buy this cow. She has already had a calf. Have you seen the crops outside? They taught us how to make compost. Well, this is how I managed to pay for 2 of my children to go to a private school at Diebugu and to care for my family. As a farmer, it is easy. The rental of their room alone cost me 2,500 francs CFA every month. I also have a donkey, so sometimes I have to collect firewood, which I sell to complete their needs.
L'expérience a marché pour certains.
Many experience success. Some still have difficulties to change, but when you visit the farms of some fellows, you see the changes.
Considérablement augmenté, surtout du côté de la volaille. Leur expertise, leur savoir-faire a été amélioré.
You note that their income has improved considerably, that their expertise has improved, and you can see how well they integrate agriculture and livestock. They use byproducts like the manure to improve agriculture.
Pour améliorer l'agriculture.
Women are the primary beneficiaries of the microcredit system. 86 million francs CFA have been distributed to more than 1,500 women for income-raising activities. Today, they manage oil presses, grain mills, soap-making units, and cereal banks in order to optimize their profit in cereal trading. The total income so generated approximates 300 million francs CFA, and it is the financial autonomy of 1,500 poor women that is so strengthened.
ASUDEC truly helped me. The first credit enabled me to buy a bicycle, and with the second credit, I bought a cow that has already calved. I finished passing on my chicken, and look, I still have many chickens left. I also bought pigs, and I sell food and small items in local marketplaces.
Lorsqu'une femme est moins pauvre, toute la famille a bénéficié.
When a wife is able to earn more, it is everyone in the household who benefits. This is why ASUDEC has a special focus on women. By enabling women to raise animals, providing them with microcredits which they reimburse later, they are able to help in a very formidable way. A survey done on our microcredit activity shows that the livelihood is improved in households and that children are better taken care of and better schooled.
Le niveau de vie des enfants, la scolarité des enfants est mieux payée et les enfants sont mieux suivis.
The development of the intellect and the mastery of management techniques are determinant in the projects that are implemented. Multiple initiatives are repeated with the objective to improve the technical capacity of the farmers in all the domains where ASUDEC support is solicited. As a result, this village leader can easily and rigorously manage his chicken house. He checks everything from egg laying to hatching, and from the growth of the chicks to vaccination programs. It is with great pride that he shows his project to his visitors. As for us, the local chiefs, These kinds of projects are especially helpful. It helps everyone in the 13 villages of the Ganse area. It helps the youth, the children, and even the old people. Really, we are very happy and very proud.
Pour l'élevage quand même, qui veut nous aider. Vraiment, on est très content, on est très content, très fiers.
Over 13,000 poor farmers have seen their technical capacity improve because of the training in sustainable livestock and agricultural practices. Over 3,000 illiterate young men and women have effectively learned to read and write. This training program is supported with the construction of literate centers in 5 locations in the southwest of Burkina, and where our associated literature training, technical training, exchange meetings and conferences, along with reading spaces and bookstores. At all levels of intervention, interdependency is the sacred principle of the organization. This preserves the dignity of the beneficiary, who in turn becomes a donor. It strengthens social relations in the community and enables the extension of the project to a large number of needy people at a lower cost. In less than 10 years, over 1,500 million francs CFA have been raised to support over 10,000 poor households in the southwest, central, and central southern regions.
En termes de chiffres, on peut dire que depuis 99,
in terms of figures, there have been more than 12,000 chickens and animals which have been passed on, and this has enabled us to install over 1,000 new families. It means that when we have a project that must say 5 years or so, after the 3rd year, we don't buy animals anymore. It is the pass-on animals that we use to support the new families.
Et ce sont les passations de dons-là qui nous servent pour doter les nouvelles familles. Donc on peut dire que ça marche. Et maintenant avec l'installation.
Now with the formation of the local councils of ASUDEC in the villages, who also have a special interest in this pass-on system, there is a dynamicism around this whole thing. Therefore, many beneficiaries do pass on without difficulty. Sometimes there is such an enthusiasm to pass on that we are forced to postpone the event to make it coincide with the installation of new families.
J'ai de reporter les rétrocessions pour les coïncider avec les dotations des nouvelles familles.
ASUDEC effectivement intervient dans la commune de Pau depuis 2005 et notamment dans le village de Songo.
Since 2005, ASUDEC intervenes in the township of Po in the villages of Songo 1 and Songo 2. They started with 80 families and now they cover over 160. Every farmer has an average flock size of 50 to 60 chickens. Given this performance, the City Council organized a 3-day chicken festival. This proved to be a great thing.
Pour donc permettre l'écoulement de la production donc de ces braves paysans-là. Et ça a été vraiment une bonne chose.
Il y a des motifs de satisfaction parce que
we have good reason to feel proud. When in some areas you enter households and you see a child with a blackboard to practice after-school classes, the school bag full of school kits, and the parents even give pocket money to the child for his lunch at noon. Some parents are even able to send their children to private school. Then you feel being useful. Also, when you see the local council of ASUDEC, because in every village where we operate, we have councils, forms around the head of the village to assist us in our efforts. When you see these councils fight so harshly to make the project work, to bring the people to pay back their credits, or to pass on the gift we gave them, you can feel that things are improving.
Constater que ça fait un hic.
But for beautiful flowers to bloom, what a long time the passionate gardener must endure in order to persevere. It is the question here of hard work to change mentalities, a question of laboratory development with such an immense field to explore and vast potentials to value. Most often, the farmers fail to follow because the conceivers of the strategy are too far ahead with regard to the maturity of their partners. The results take time, delayed by an environment that is polluted by other development partners who operate in the opposite direction.
Les populations ont été éduquées par des systèmes.
Local people have been educated by approaches that could not permit their self-reliance. Interveners were giving. They were giving maybe too much. When they realize it doesn't work, they stop. Then they come back to pouring again, and they were getting too many, and succeeding one another in the same places where it didn't work at all. Finally, this educated the beneficiary to develop a way to get mentality, and even a corrupt mentality. They seek ways to take advantage of any incoming projects, and this does not help us in the field at all.
Et ça ne facilite pas la tâche sur le terrain.
For ASUDEC, development is a risky bet that it plays in order to achieve a dream of Africa where poverty is overcome, like a colony of tiny ants striving to carry a large bone back home at their own pace. It is a development perceived as a collective game, the African solidarity that moves mountains.